Hello friends, I am Enterprise Architecture and we are back here once again playing Oceanblock 2 in Minecraft. This is a great little pack here that we've been exploring for quite a while now, and you'll note that once again I am without my colleague Geek. We have been working together on building out our little island adventure here, and we've gone our separate ways for now. I've tried to recreate most of the things that we had built in our first base together, so let me give you just a very brief tour and then we're going to dive into today's adventure. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. So I've cleaned up my main base here a little bit, so it gives me a little more room to work, but I still need to continue expanding as we go. I put a mailbox here that we can send items back and forth to. I know that Geek wanted to build out like an aircraft carrier, something more modern, so I'm putting all of these various more modern looking lights and whatnot in here for him, so he can use those to build. So these will get sent through this ender chest to him and he can pick those up on his side. Now I've got the storage drawers array set up here that we had used over on the other build. Oh, and a campfire, as you can see, that I'm stepping into. So this will be how we get most of our sifted ores coming in. They're being sifted over there on that island on the other side. Can't see it from here. But I also built a giant floating platform here, and this is where all of our smelting and whatnot is going to happen. So let me climb up here real quick. So I've recreated the jumbo furnace, the coke oven, and the multi-block productive metalworks furnace here. So we can automatically create a whole variety of items, and I have been casting crystallized mineral in here. All of our casts are ready to go also. And then over here, I have our mystical agricultural pedestals ready to go so that we can make some seeds. I have made a couple of seeds here that I will show in a little bit. And then this platform here is where we're going to start today's adventure. This is going to be an episode all about Ars Nouveau, which quite frankly, I know absolutely nothing about. I have spent maybe all of 10 minutes playing with Ars Nouveau. I am not an expert by any means. The last time I played with it was on a shared group server that a bunch of my friends had, and honestly, somebody else took care of all the Ars Nouveau stuff while I was messing around with Mechanism and AE2. So we're gonna have a learning experience today, and friends, please, please, please use those comments in the chat below to let me know what I am screwing up, because I'm not gonna pretend like I'm gonna get this right. There's no way I'm gonna get this right. We need to get started in this massive quest line. So all of this Ars Nouveau stuff is what we're going to be focused on today. We're probably not going to get through all of it today because there's just way too much to cover. For those of you who are thinking, yes, isn't he just procrastinating to avoid doing Pneumaticraft to finish off the first quest line? Yes, that's exactly what I am doing. But, you know, it's for a good cause. We're going to need all this Ars Nouveau stuff so that we can go through and get some high-powered spells to fight some of the baddies that are coming up, because there are indeed baddies in this pack and I cannot avoid combat forever. And I think the best way to deal with that is, of course, to become a high-powered mage, or at least a medium-powered mage, a mediocre mage at best, and see how far we can get. So, first things first, we have the welcome quest here. We need to build the novice spellbook. In addition to the novice spellbook, we also want to make a tattered tome, because this is going to tell us everything that we need to know about Ars Nouveau. So again, since I know nothing, we need to make something. So we have a couple of books here. We're going to take one of them, and we are going to add a piece of lapis to that. That gives us our tattered tome from this book. There we go. From this mod, excuse me, that's the documentation of the mod. We can open this up and it'll tell us all about getting started with spells and glyphs and all those sorts of things. So we're going to be using that heavily, I'm sure. So with that done, the next thing we need to do is make the novice spellbook. We need to have basically one of, I think, every single tool. So we need a shovel, a pickaxe, an axe, and an iron sword. Just like this with our book. And now we get a novice spellbook. Now, the good news is, due to opening so many crates through the course of this quest, we actually already have the mage's spellbook, which is the next tier up. So we're just going to jump right over the novice spellbook altogether and go straight into the advanced one. Oh, and it looks like I got the tattered tome as a quest reward. So now I have 2 tattered tomes. That's fine. We'll just put the other one in here. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. I really would prefer it if the quest lines did it in order, though. Take the tattered tome and then you get the novice spellbook for free. That seems like it makes more sense. Now, we've created our first spellbook and we've upgraded already. So we are going to go ahead and create our first spell. We do that by opening C, and we've got these different glyphs to choose from. We've got projectile and harm and break. So if I wanted a nice spell to hurt my enemies, I could use this one. That would create that spell. If I wanted to create another spell for digging, I could do, oh, excuse me, nope, we want projectile and we want break. This I can now shoot, and that will do digging for me. So if I shoot this at a block that I don't care about so much, let's shoot at this slab. There we go. You can see it just broke that slab for me. Right, pressing V opens the radial menu so that we can choose which projectile we want to then shoot. And then right click and it'll shoot it, and oh, that goes for a long, long, long time. Okay, infinite range. Good to know. That is extremely dangerous. So we also are supposed to be able to use X and Z, but Z is bound to zoom right now. So X just clicks through. Bottom left corner, you can see those numbers going up. So we're going to use V though. That's easier for us. All right. So we've created our first spell. We are going. Now we need to move on to these magical trees, the archwood saplings. So we've got a bunch of those again from, whoops, I keep using that. Let's turn that off before I break something. We have a bunch of those in this chest. We have a couple of every flavor, except for we only have one vexing archwood. I don't know that there's a major difference between these, although I think each one has a different fruit that grows on it when you find them. But again, since we're growing them, I don't think they are going to grow with fruit. Let's go ahead and take a flourishing, and we are going to take, I guess, one of each of these other ones that we have doubled up for now, just in case I screw something up. And we are going to go plant this, and I don't remember off the top of my head if these will work with torque to grow. So let's grab some bone meal just in case, because we need this to grow relatively quickly. I probably need to add the auto feeding upgrade to my backpack. That's something that I have not gotten around to doing, but we'll go ahead and eat a bunch of food real quick. And then we're going to pop over here and go ahead and put down our sapling. So I believe in my backpack here, I do have a wooden hoe. And so, yeah, I do see some sparks. Oh, there we go. That is a huge, huge archwood tree. So we are going to go ahead and ultimine this. Take that down. Oh, and lovely. We got a whole bunch of saplings off of that. That gives us the archwood logs for that quest. So to make our source gems, first we need to make an imbuement chamber, and for that we need to make some archwood planks. And again, we have plenty of archwood here now, so we can go ahead and make up a bunch of planks. Let's just do, I don't know, like 24 to start. And of those, I'm also going to make some slabs, because I think those are going to be needed in a moment also. So let's make the imbuement chamber real quick. That's just gold and planks. There we go. Wonderful. And we can just go throw this down over here, I guess, for now. We don't have a really good place for it. Now, from that, we can make our source gems, and that needs lapis. I have not a lot of lapis. I have a very sad amount of lapis right now, because we are producing it slowly from sifting, but not at any considerable rate. But for right now, we can go ahead and just put our lapis down here, and that will slowly convert. You can see it's ticking there in the right-hand corner. Oh, and after all of my babbling, we have a source gem that is done. We need to keep crafting source gems for a little bit here. But with that being done, we got a few XP. We probably need to start working on actually getting source. That means making source jars. So all of these are just our archwood slabs that I mentioned and some glass. I think we have glass already made. If not, I can whip some up real quick here. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a source jar, if I can type. Okay, so we're gonna add this, and we do have higher tiers of source jar available, it looks like. So let's make one of those real quick. Great. And now with a jar, we can start using one of these source links to be able to make stuff. I think the one we're gonna focus on right now is the Agronomic. This one allows us to plant some things that are going to grow, and every time it grows a little bit, then we get, in that same tick, a little bit of source. So I think this is the one we want to go with. We just need some wheat for that. I do believe that we had been growing a little bit of wheat. Do I have any in my chest? I do not see it in here, but I believe that we had created some fields over here. And yeah, we do have wheat. So let me just click one of those to get one piece of wheat to start. Now those fields would be a decent place to start our growth here, but I have a better plan for how we can get a whole bunch of source a lot faster. So first things first, let's craft this up. Oh, we need that second source gem that we were just waiting on. Give me that. Let's go put another one in so it can start cooking while we wait. And let's make this agronomic source link. I saw somebody make a really great farm using a cactus. And if you use cactus and pair it up with snad, which we made a whole bunch of episodes ago, again, we put that in a tempered glass jar with sand and bone meal and we get snad, then we can grow cactus really, really fast. So let me grab one piece for now, just so we can get our reserves up. I only have 3 on me here. So the snad will grow the cactus if we give it a redstone signal. So we're gonna need a redstone clock as well. Again, real easy, we just use chisel stone bricks to make that. I think I could use a lever here to be able to turn it on and off. We don't want this to run like forever ever. So let's go ahead and make a lever that will be useful. And I think that's most of what we need. The last thing that we're really missing here is the Dire Things block that is the collector. And this should be relatively easy for us, except for that we are missing an ender pearl. Do we not have any source of ender pearl at this point? Well, I've double checked, we do not have an ender eye anywhere around here, but we do have a collector upgrade from functional storage. We've made a bunch of these in the past. It's just hoppers, redstone, some stone, and of course one of those lovely drawers from that pack. I don't know, I only have a 4x4 drawer. I don't have a 1x1 drawer, so let's make up one of those 1x1 drawers real fast here, and we just need to get rid of that filter. And now we should be able to wrap this in our planks to be able to make a 1x1 drawer. I missed one. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So this will give us a very short range ability to collect. We'll probably want to put that somewhere that makes it really close to the snad so that we can easily grab up those items. All right. So we're going to just come over just a little bit here. I built a little bit more platform, and we're going to put our snad down here. We are going to put our redstone clock here. We are going to put a lever right on the side of that. And then we are going to put our cactus right here. That should start growing immediately. Yep. And you see that's growing pretty quick for us. I'm going to go ahead and break this here. Now, cactus, if it touches another block, will immediately break itself, if I remember correctly, as long as it's a block that's solid. So I think what we can do is try and put something like this. Yeah, there we go. You can see that that breaks immediately for us. You can see that's just going to keep growing and 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 growing. And it doesn't even look like the clock is on and it's already growing immediately. I would have thought that that would need a redstone signal, but apparently it doesn't. It just does its thing. So we are wasting all of this growth. We need to put our source link down right here. And then the source link, we are then going to need a source jar. All right, so we're not going to be able to catch all of the cactus that's coming out of here. That's just not going to be possible. So we're going to put our source drawer, our functional storage drawer down here. And then we are going to take this collector upgrade and we're just going to tell it to collect up. And then hopefully anything that does happen to fall on top of it will just go right in there. But you can see this is already 36% full. That means that's going really, really quick here. Let's take a detour and go to the scribe's table. Now the scribe's table will allow us to get new glyphs, and that's going to be the key to making these high-powered spells. So let's go to make some more archwood slabs. And then from that, we will make our scribe's table. Great. This, I think I'm just going to plonk it down awkwardly like over here. Kind of in the way a little bit. Will you not go on the ground? There you go. Okay, great. All right, so we right click with our book here on all of the available glyphs, and we want to find amplify. There's amplify. We're going to select that, and we need to toss our pickaxe. So let's toss this pickaxe, and now it's going to craft our glyph. And there we go. Now we have the amplify glyph. We right click that and we have unlocked it. And now if we go to our spell book, we should be able to add amplify in. So if I put, say, 2 amplifies, now our harm spell should be way, way more powerful. So that gives us access to that. So to make source stone, we literally just have to take our source gems and then wrap those in some stone. So I've got a bunch of cooked stone here. We can go ahead and make up some source stone really fast. I think 16 should be fine for now. We're probably gonna need more than that over the long term. And then we can go ahead and add that to a source gem, and that will make an arcane pedestal. So now we have an arcane pedestal. Wonderful. All right, there are our 4 pedestals all done. We get our XP for that. And now we are ready to make our enchanting apparatus and also an arcane core, which will go underneath. All right, enchanting apparatus. Oh, we're missing a few things. We're gonna need more source stone, of course, always running out. And then we just need more nuggets, so that'll be easy for us. Let's do that. This is gonna go through a lot of gold, friends. I didn't think that we'd need that much. There's that, and then the arcane core similarly is very simple for us. Okay, so we have all of those done. So first let's take our pedestals and use our imbuement chamber to make our fire essence. For that, we're gonna need flint and steel, gunpowder, and a torch. I already have torches lying around. I think gunpowder we are sifting for, so I can grab that. Let's grab 2, we'll do 2 while we are doing this. And then I think the only thing I'm missing is flint and steel, and that needs cast iron in this pack. So let's go to make up our flint and steel, and we will do 2 of those. 1 and 2. Great. And I do believe that we'll have enough source gems to get by here with the 4 that we've got on hand. That should be no problem. And then we're just going to throw down a couple of arcane pedestals just like this. Our source jar is now empty, so let me turn this on real fast. And now that we have a little bit of source, I believe all we have to do is put these items on the various pedestals. So let's go ahead and put these around. We'll put this in here. And now we have our source going in. You can see all of that is coming together slowly but surely, ticking away. And we should then get our fire essence. There we go. Wonderful. And it looks like it didn't consume the items. Yeah, it looks like that's really neat. I assumed it would have used these items up completely to make it, but apparently it doesn't. Apparently it just kind of hangs out and just uses them as like totems for what it needs to craft. So fire essence done. That means that we should be able to use this to make our next recipe here, our glyph of explosion. And it looks for that we also are going to need to make the fire charge real quick. Let's add that to our shopping list, as well as a bunch of TNT. Oh, we need our spell book. Where did we put our spell book? There we go. Right click. And now we are looking for tier 2 explosion. Wonderful. So select that. And we can start putting things down on there. So there's 1, then there's actually only 3 pieces of TNT. That's good. I was a little worried. And then just a fire charge. Perfect. All right, so all of that is coming together. And there is our glyph of explosion. We have now learned that. So with that, we can now make up a new recipe if we want. We can come over here, press C, and go to our 3rd recipe. We can do projectile, we can do, let's see, explosion, and then we can amplify that. So in theory, that should give us a lovely exploding fireball, but it's not going to hit anything, so we're not going to see that, but it does mean that we do now have that. Okay, so that gives us another spell for our spell book. Wonderful. All right, so we are cooking right through here. I think the last thing that we're going to do today, because we are running short on time, is we need to make ourselves up some magical seeds. Now, Mage Bloom seeds are easy enough. If we did not have our Enchanting Apparatus and already have picked up a Mage Bloom seed along the way, we would just use any seed surrounded by source gems. Thankfully, we already picked up a Mage Bloom seed previously during the time that we were bashing open our crates, so we can literally just take this over here to our cloche and grow up a bunch of Mage Bloom. So let's pull this seed out, put that seed in, and rapidly this then should turn into Mage Bloom for us. So we can grab that up, and that should give us credit for this as soon as we turn it into Mage Bloom fiber. So we can actually take this, drop it in here, and there we go, Mage Bloom fiber, and get credit for that. That is how we are going to start making our magical thread. So magical thread, easy enough here. It's just blank thread in this case with gold nuggets and our Mage Bloom fiber, but we also need to make a table. So we need to make another scribe's table. And let's go ahead and grab up however much we've got here. We're gonna grab that. We're gonna be needing to make a bunch more. So let's just let this keep going for a little while here. And now we're gonna come over here and make that table. So let's go ahead and make up first our scribe's table. Easy enough, we have all the ingredients for that. With that, we can make up an alteration table. There we go. Let's convert all of our Mage Bloom fiber here real quick, just like that. And we are gonna then use this to make up our, was it spell woven thread or whatever they call it. There we go. I'll do 2 pieces of that for now. Let's put down our alteration table. I think this can go right behind here. There we go. It's getting a little crowded here. So now we have our alteration table. So each piece of mage gear comes with at least 1 thread slot. The tier of that slot depends on the piece of armor, which is shown in the armor. So these threads are going to give us powers. So let's see here. We have a sorcerer set, which is used for defense. We're not going to get hit. I'm a little worried about this, but it has many more high tier thread slots. The Arcanist set is made from iron armor, and the middle ground for want more defense but don't want to give up our higher tier slots. And then of course the battle mage slot is going to be for those of us who want to do up close and personal, it says. I think, now that I'm looking at this, I would love to be a battle mage, but I am not very good at combat. So I think we need to keep our distance, but I do want defense because I'm very bad at dodging. And in Minecraft, it's hard to dodge anyway. So let's add our Arcanist set here. So we are going to need to make our Arcanist hat. That's definitely not how we make it. We need to use our Enchanting Apparatus here, and that's going to be an iron helmet with our 4 Mage Bloom fibers. So our Enchanting Apparatus here. We have that, and we can grab up our pedestals that we were using previously for this. I probably want to relocate our entire apparatus here to somewhere a little bit better, like that place that we had set up for this. So let me move all of this real quick. All right, so here is our setup. We now have an arcane core underneath our enchanting apparatus. I have got our imbuement chamber over here. Our source jar is mostly full. This setup I have fixed by putting a spruce drawer 2 blocks above the cactus, and this one now has the collector upgrade pointing down, as well as these pieces of spruce plank to both break the cactus and also keep it contained inside of this box when it breaks. So this is picking up all of the cactus. We're going to need to add a void upgrade to that pretty much immediately, but it is giving us an infinite source of our source really quick. Source? Yeah, sourcey. All right, so we've got all of that ready. So now we can start enchanting our various pieces here. So let's go ahead and grab up our Mage Bloom fiber, put that around the edges here, and we're going to go ahead and put our iron helmet right on top. And you can see that is starting to get going. It's clicking away. And there we go. We have a very shiny hat. Wonderful. That looks great. I am very excited for it. Let's go ahead and repeat the process for all of the other items that we are going to need here. We'll put our fibers on there. Let's go ahead and work on our chest plate next. Put that there. That's going to keep going for us. Almost getting full. Oh, note that I did also use the muffler mod to make the wool breaking sound be silent, because otherwise this just is really annoying with its clanking over and over again. All right, getting close here. We now can go for some lovely, lovely pants. You know, in between episodes, I might go ahead and make a full set of all of these just so we have them. There we go. Lovely pants, and then we will put the rest of these on the pedestals, and then we can put our boots on it. All right, there we go. And I'm also wearing some lovely relics that I found here. You can see in the relics mod, I found myself a rage glove, and I also found myself magma walkers. These are great because it allows us to walk on lava for a very short period of time. So that's been real useful for us. Okay, and then these will go on underneath our magma walkers. And now we are a full-on arcanist. This is wonderful. Okay, so with all of that gear now, we can start making ourselves up some magic threads. So let's take one look at some magic threads, and then I think we are about out of time. All right, so these are the threads that we have available to us. Most of them require ingredients we do not have access to. Phantom membranes, totems of undying, etc. We can't make that so that we can get the thread of undying. All right, so having cleaned this up a little bit, I made 4 more pedestals. We can go ahead and put our various, what is this, the Mage Bloom fiber around the edges of these 8 pedestals, and then we're gonna put our blank thread in the middle, and that's because the only glyph we can make right now is the thread of warding. That's the only one that we have all of the ingredients for. So let's go ahead and grab that real quick. Can we do anything else? We might be able to do this one, but that might have to be an in-between episodes. Let's go ahead and grab up our thread of warding. Wonderful. And now we should be able to modify our armor to add this to it. And I think we could actually add this to any of the pieces here that we've got. Let's go ahead and pull off our robe to start. And we will throw this one down here. We need to put the thread on it, and then we place that on the table. There we go, just like that. So that should now give us a robe that is warded to a tier 1, and now it's slightly better than it was before. Perfect. Well, friends, we are just barely starting our journey into Ars Nouveau. We now have at least some basic spell power here. I'm going to do a little bit more homework between episodes, maybe get some more glyphs unlocked and whatnot, so we will be ready to do battle with some of the monsters that await us, including, I think, some in that castle that's sitting there behind me that we have been avoiding for a while. It might be about time to go deal with that before we deal with the real monster, which is Pneumaticraft. Again, I'm being way too harsh about Pneumaticraft. I'm just avoiding it at this point, but we will get back on track here very shortly. So, for now, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends!